So what we want to do is slice the daikon in a vertically from the top down to the bottom so that we have planks. But this is a little bit too long. If your daikon is too long, then cut it in half so it makes it easier. And now we'll cut it this way, down in planks. So you want these to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. So once we've cut the daikon into planks vertically, we want to slice them in strips like this, but be sure that you don't slice it all the way through. You're going to make this, well, kind of like a hula skirt. It's going to hold together at the top. So we slice the strips this way. You see I'm not slicing all the way through. This part, the top, holds all the little strips together so that when we hang it up to dry, it's all going to hold together and you don't have to hang up individual little strips, which would be very difficult, even impractical. So we want to do that with all the planks, slicing, but not all the way through the top. Now these strips, when they dry, they're going to become a lot thinner, as you'll see later in the video. So here's our little hula skirt. Once you have all your daikon planks cut into strips and held together at the top, then we want to mix them with a little bit of salt. We're going to do this with all of them. Mix it up. Doesn't have to be a lot of salt. You don't have to knead it or anything like that. Once you've done that, then what we're going to do is put them in a crock or a deep bowl of some kind that you might have. And we're going to let those sit overnight or 4 to 6 hours. So let me bring the crock over. And you just want to place them in there next to each other. You can see some of the salt's already bringing out some of the moisture from the daikon without even pressing it. Keep filling up. So we have them all in. And now you put some kind of flat bowl or flat top of some kind over the surface of the daikon, and then take a weight. I'm just going to use this jar of rice. It's heavy enough, and set it right on there. And now we're going to wait, and you'll see in overnight or 4 to 6 hours there's going to be plenty of water that's come out of that daikon. We're going to discard that. It's just going to be too salty. But by pressing it with the salt overnight, removing that water, you help to speed up the drying of the daikon. The sun doesn't have to evaporate all the water of the raw daikon. So this helps a lot in the process. So now our sliced daikon was mixed with salt, put in this crock with a weight on top, and pressed overnight or 4 to 6 hours. Even up to 8 hours is plenty. And we're going to take the weight off, And you're going to see that there was a lot of water in that Daikon. Just that little bit of Daikon. And by pressing it like this in the salt overnight and removing the water, it makes it easier. It quickens the process of drying the sliced daikon after we hang it up, which we'll show you here in just a moment. So I'm going to pour this out. Pour out that water. Set that aside. Now that's really salty. We don't want to use that. And we're going to take the pieces of daikon that we've pressed and we're going to rinse them before we hang them up to dry. So you see they've gotten much softer now. And we just rinse them under water to get the rest of the salt off. We don't really need that on there. So we're going to rinse the daikon that was salted and pressed under weight all night. Okay, so here's one of our planks of daikon that we cut into strips, but not all the way through to hold it together at the top. We mix it with salt. We pressed it overnight under a weight to get rid of some of the excess liquid. And now we're going to hang it up. You see, by having this little hula skirt type of cut here, then that holds it together. And we don't have to try and hang up individual little strips of it. We can hang up a whole plank of it at a time, like so. And now that's going to dry. So we're going to do that with all of the cut daikon. So now we have all of our sliced planks of daikon that have been pressed in salt overnight and then rinsed, hanging up to dry. So after about 24 hours of being hung up to dry, the daikon is slowly getting there. Pretty dry after 24 hours, depending on the size of the strips to begin with.